a subgroup of G, then A into capital H equals to A into small h such that small h belongs to capital H and capital H into A, which is equals to small h into A such that capital small h such that small h belongs to capital H are called the cosets of, these are called the cosets of H in G. So these are the cosets of H in G, where here A into capital H is called left coset. A into capital H is called left coset and capital H into A is called as the right coset of H. So AH is called the left coset, HA is called the right coset of H. Now let us know the properties of cosets. Let A comma B be the elements. This A comma B are the elements and H be the subgroup of G. So here H is the subgroup of G. So let us know the properties one by one. First one, A belongs to AH. First property is A belongs to AH. Next, AH equals to H if and only if A belongs to H. AH equals to H if and only if A belongs to H. Next, third one, AH equals to BH if and only if A belongs to BH. Fourth one, AH equals to BH or AH intersection BH, which is equals to pi. AH equals to BH or AH intersection BH equals to pi. Next, fifth one, AH equals to BH if and only if AH equals to BH if and only if A minus B pi into H. A minus B pi into H. Next, sixth one, order of AH equals to order of BH. Order of AH equals to order of BH. Next, seventh, AH is a subgroup of G if and only if. When AH is subgroup of G, if and only if A belongs to H. Next, union A belongs to G, AH equals to G. Union A belongs to G, AH equals to G. So these are the properties of cosets. Let's discuss important theorem, state and prove Lagrange's theorem. So here statement, if G is a finite group, here G is a finite group and H is a subgroup of G. If G is a finite group and H is a subgroup of G, then order of H divides order of G. So order of H divides order of G. Coming to proof, what is given here? Let G be a finite group. Here G be a finite group and H be the subgroup of G. G is a finite group and H is a subgroup of G. Let the order of G and H be, here order of G and H, what we are taking here? M and N respectively. Order of G and H be M and N respectively. So that implies order of G equals to what here? N. And order of H equals to M. Order of G N, order of H equals to M. Now, if A1H, A2H, so on up to AKH are distinct left cosets of H in G. So these are the distinct left cosets of H in G. Then A1H union, A2H union, so on up to union AKH, which is equals to G here. Now, what we have to do here, we should apply modulus on both sides. So we are applying here modulus on both sides. Mod A1H union, A2H union, so on up to union AKH, which is equals to mod G. So that implies now we have to separate these mods. Mod A1H plus mod A2H union means plus here. Mod A2H, mod A1H plus mod union means plus here. Mod A2H plus so on up to plus mod AKH, which is equals to same as it is mod G. Now as we discussed about the properties of the cosets, so from the properties of cosets what we are taking here, it is in the form of mod AH equals to mod H. Mod H means what here? Order of H means M here, which is equals to M. Now substitute the corresponding values in equation 1. We are taking this mod A1H plus mod A2H so on up to plus mod AKH, which is equals to mod G. We are taking this as equation 1. So now in this equation we have to substitute these values. So as we took here from the properties of cosets, mod AH equals to mod H equals to M. So in the place of mod A1H, what we have to take here? Yeah, substituting in equation 1. So now what is the value of mod h? Mod ah equals to mod h equals to m. So now in the place of mod a1h means m plus, next m plus so on up to m. How many times? Up to mod ak. So k times, which is equals to mod g means, since mod g equals to n, so which is equals to n. That implies m, how many times we are taking? K times. So m into k equals to n as it is. That implies now k equals to m goes this side. This multiplication m comes this side. So becomes a division n by m. So this we are considering as equation 2. Now from equation 2 it is observed that what we can observe from equation 2, m divides n. So therefore order h divides. So what is m here? M means order h. N means order g. So order h divides. Therefore order h divides order g. Next, using Lagrange's theorem, prove that every group of prime order is cyclic. So what we have to prove here? Every group of prime order is cyclic. So coming to proof, let G be the group first. Let G be the group and prime number P is the order of the group. So this prime number P is the order of the group. So that is order of G equals to P. Thus there is an element. What is the element here? A belongs to G. There is an element A belongs to G such that A not equals to E here. A is not equals to E. The cyclic subgroup generated by A is a subgroup of G and it has at least 2 elements. How many elements it should have? 2 elements. What are those 2 elements? A and E. So this A and E are the 2 elements. Now according to Lagrange's theorem, order of generator A, that is order of generator A divide prime P. So here this order of generator A is dividing the prime P. Now let generator A equals to, what we are assuming here, generator A equals to Q. But here P is a prime number. But as we discussed, P is a prime number. Therefore Q should be equals to 1 or Q equals to P. Since A not equals to E, that implies order of generator A greater than 1. So here order of generator A greater than 1. Now that implies order of generator A greater than P. So that implies generator A equals to G. Then we can say that if G is generated by A means, then we can say that G is cyclic. Therefore every group of prime order is cyclic. Therefore we can say that every group of prime order is cyclic. Next one, state and prove Fermat's little theorem. So statement here, for every integer A and every prime P, A power P equivalent to A mod P, A into mod P. So A power P should be equivalent to A into mod P. Coming to proof, let A represents an integer. So here A represents an integer. Let P denotes a prime number. So here P is a prime number. According to division algorithm, that is, these are integers. What are the integers here? M and R are the integer according to division algorithm, for which A equals to Pm plus R. A equals to P into M plus R with 0 less than or equals to R less than P. So that implies A equivalent to R into mod P. So here R is the remainder. When R equals to 0, then result is trivial. That is, both sides are 0. When R is not equals to 0, so that implies R belongs to U of P. If R not equals to 0 means R belongs to U of P, where U of P equals to 1, 2, 3, so on up to P minus 1, which is a finite group under multiplication modulo P. So order of U of P is P minus 1. So order of U of P is P minus 1. That implies order of U of P equals to P minus 1. So if G is a finite group with A belongs to G, then A power order G equals to E here. E means identity. That implies here A is equivalent to R. So here R order G means order of U of P. So because here A belongs to G. So G is a finite group. U of P is also a finite group. So here R power order U of P equals to, E means what here? Identity. So order of U of P equals to 1. That implies, so order of U of P means P minus 1. That implies R power P minus 1, which is equals to 1 mod P. So that implies this can be written as R power P minus 1 can be written as R power P by R, which is equals to 1 mod P as it is now. That implies R power P equals to, now this R goes this side, 1 into R mod P. So if R is replaced by A, so here we are replacing R with A. Then in the place of R, what we have substitute A. So A power P equals to A mod P. Therefore A power P is equivalent to A mod P.